Blessings, blessings. Hag Shavuot. Happy Pentecost. Blessings to you and your family too. We are here today celebrating the 50th day, counting the Omer, and we're excited to go into part 2 of our Shavuot teaching today. So glad that you can join us today. We're grateful to Yah. I know you can't see me, but you can see the topic on the screen here. And so let me just give you guys a little glance, and we're going to get started just a bit. So I'm gonna give you time to go ahead and grab your pens. I'll give you time to go ahead and grab your paper. I'm gonna give you time to go ahead and grab everything you need in order to participate in this live today. And so we look forward to sharing with you. And so we definitely look forward to the teaching as well. And we want you to go ahead and thumb up the video, and share this live. All right. And so we definitely want people to hear and be blessed by the word that's going forth today. And so if you could do us a favor, go ahead and thumb up the video and share the live. So good to be here once again, man. Welcome. Those of you who are joining in, who are tuning in, share this video on your page, copy the link and go to your YouTube, go to your Facebook, share it on your page there on all your platforms, so that we can get the word out that the word is going forth today. All right. Got a surprise for you. Well, it's not so much a surprise, but man, we're just going into the word. We're just going in on the word, man. And we look forward to sharing this word with you today. And so go ahead and thumb up the video and share the live, y'all. I'm doing that as well. I'm just copying the link, and I'm going to share that on all my platforms. And I want you to do that same thing. That's one way you can participate. You can actively participate in the word today. That's one way you can participate. And so we look forward to going into the word today, y'all. I'm very excited about what we're going to be sharing, and I hope you will be too. I hope you will go ahead and grab. Give me a second here while I'm sharing. All right. Yeah, man. I'm hopefully you will be excited as well, and then share this video on your page. We are grateful to Yah for another Shavuot, allowing us to be here healthy and in our right mind. And so we just look forward to going into the word today, y'all. And so we look forward to the study opportunity. I just want to make sure that we're inviting everyone come on in the building. Blessings to you and your family too, as we get ready to dive into this Torah teaching. All right. To all the fathers out there, we know that, Father's Day is not as big, is not as celebrated as Mother's Day. I don't know why that is. Especially when we consider, I think that's a worldly phenomena, is to demote the father. You may say, well, you're not demoting the father. Well, in a sense you are, because what you're doing is when you refuse to make the father the primary focus in a family, you diminish the family. The head of every home is the father. The central part of a family should be the father. And if you were to take the head off of a body, that body would die. And so it is with our families. Our families have taken the heads out of the families, which is the father. And we see families in shambles today. Every home that has children, that has a wife, needs a husband or father, would even say a father figure as well, which is not a woman. I hear people say things like this, and I get what they mean. They say things like this, y'all. And maybe you said it. Maybe you've been guilty of saying this. I'm going to get my mother a Mother's Day and Father's Day card. Ridiculous. What are you talking about? To think that a woman could take the place of a man, or a man, in that fact, can take the place of a woman is just utterly ridiculous. They are both necessary. And so I understand what people mean when they say those things, but whether there is a absence of a mother in a home, a husband cannot, or father cannot take the role of a mother. And when there is definitely an absence of a father, the wife or the mother cannot take the role of the father. I want someone, I'm wondering if there is a study that shows the outcome of children when there is an absent father compared to when there's an absent mother. In other words, I wonder, do those children who come from homes where there's an absence of a father or where there's an absence of a mother, I wonder if those children do better in life when there's an absence of a father compared to when there's an absence of a mother. I'm just curious. I'm curious. I believe, and this is my bias, I admit it, but I believe, because of the important role of the father in the home, I believe that study, if there is such thing, I believe that the children that come from homes with fathers will do better. I just believe that. That's my bias. I mean, it's my opinion, but I just believe that. I believe it. I don't have any evidence. I don't have any proof. But I just believe that a father's role is so crucial in a family that give me 1 second, y'all. I'm trying to do multiple things at multiple times. But yeah, I do believe that the father's role in a family is so crucial that the children, families that only have fathers, I believe that those children will turn out much better in life. Now, I pray that, that may not be the case, but, I just believe that. There's a feeling that I have that is making me believe that. Again, I have no proof, no evidence, but that's just my bias speaking. Well, what about you? Why don't you weigh in on the matter? Do you think that a home that is absence of a father compared to a home that is absence of a mother, do you think that home that has the father in it and no mother, do you think that those children will turn out a little bit better in life, a little bit more discipline, a little bit more responsibility, a little bit more focused, a little bit more rational? Not saying that they don't have, emotional intelligence. No, what I'm saying is that they're more rational, that they're not leaning on their emotional intelligence. And again, that's not to say that women are not rational. I know that there's a lot of people whose listening span and listening skills, they hear what they want to hear. But please understand the words that are coming out of my mouth, and don't take me out of context, but hear the balance in what I'm saying. It's just my opinion. I am entitled to it. You are entitled to disagree. And we keep it moving. All right. And so we look forward to the word of Yah going forth today. All right. And so go ahead and thumb up the video, share the live, and I'm going to get right into the lesson today, y'all. All right. And so you guys see what it is. You see the title, you see what we're doing today. This is part 2. And so we are looking forward to jumping right in and being a blessing. All right. And so I just want to, um, let's see. Okay. Oh, I spelled that wrong. All right. That's all right. That's all right. Okay. All right. So we're gonna dive in today and deal with the second part of our Shavuot and Pentecost 24 series. What is your unity based on? What is your unity based on? That is a huge question that we're going to tackle today, and it's something I think that needs to be dealt with. Something that I think really destabilizes not only our relationships, but it destabilizes our community. It destabilizes our nation, uh, destabilizes us in various areas. For example, when you look at the movement Black Lives Matter, you had many Christians, you had many Hebrew Israelites, you had many people who were atheists, who were unified based on the color of our skin. And as a result, you see the agenda. You see, where is Black Lives Matter today? What agenda are they tackling today? Um, and so you have people who said in their minds that our unity is not going to be based on truth, but it's going to be based on the color of our skin, which is ridiculous to me, considering if you are a Bible believing individual, if you follow Torah, if you follow the Tanakh and the Brit Hadashah, you know the scripture says, "Come out from among them, be ye separate." What fellowship does light have with darkness? In other words, if you are not a believer in Yeshua HaMashiach, and you are following the Torah, then you have no business uniting. You have no business linking up with. You have no business coming together with those who are not believers in Yeshua HaMashiach. And so we've thrown that out the window. We've said that is a old model that has proven not to work. And now, when we talk about what is the purpose of coming together? Now, some people say, well, for political purposes only, for political, economic, and social purposes only, leave your religion at home. We're not telling you not to believe it, but leave it at home so that we can base our unity on the color of our skin, our common factor, which is the color of our skin. What do you guys think about that? Well, what do you think about that? Should believers in Yeshua HaMashiach, should we throw out truth, throw out the Bible for the sake of political and economic unity? Some people will say yes, some people will say no. What do you say? What say you? All right. And so we're going to get into this today. We're going to get into what is your unity based on. All right. And we got to look at this. Shavuot celebrates the giving of the Torah that formed ancient Hebrew Israelite covenant, or the marriage to Yah. On the other hand, Pentecost celebrates the outpouring of the Ruach Kodesh that empowered believers to live out the instructions, or to live out the Torah, and to be a light to the Gentiles. And so these two landmark historical events in Hebrew Israelite history, in our history, represent divine revelation, which is the giving of the Torah, covenant renewal, which is the Ruach Kodesh, allowing us to be renewed to live out the Torah, and then spiritual empowerment, so that we can share the gospel with Gentiles, so that we can live the gospel in front of Gentiles, that they may come to understand the truth and the gospel of the kingdom of Yah. And then finally, if we're going to have any type of communal unity, All right, here we go. This is what we were talking about. If we're going to have any kind of communal unity, it has to be based on the common factor of living out the Torah in complete fidelity. Complete fidelity. And see, that's going to take a huge sacrifice on behalf of followers of Yeshua and those who live the Torah. And many, to be honest, to be quite honest, many of us don't have that kind of discipline. We're not disciplined for righteousness like that. Oh yeah, we're disciplined for other areas. We're disciplined for unrighteousness. We can live out unrighteousness. We can go in the homes of unbelievers and throw out our own beliefs and then gravitate to whatever is going on in the house. I'm down with that. Oh, you got some drugs on the table? Okay, I'm down with that. You got drink in the refrigerator? I'm down with that. Oh, you got pork grilling on the grill? I'm down with that. It's easy for us to be undisciplined and throw out our principles and throw out our beliefs and foundational principles that stand on truth for unrighteousness. But can we do that in reverse? Can we say no? Can we reject unrighteousness and stand on truth no matter what comes, no matter what happens? That, my friend, has proven to be a communal disadvantage for us. Our communities have not been able to rise above that hurdle. And as a result, you see the plight of our communities today. You see what's going on in our communities. You see our neighborhoods, our streets, our schools, our churches, our women, the lack of men taking a leadership role in what we should be doing to be examples to the next generation of boys that will become men. You can see all of these things happening because we are simply put undisciplined. We're undisciplined in righteousness, and our pride will ruin us. As a matter of fact, the scripture says, pride goeth before a fall. And so you can see in our communities, we have fallen. We have fallen down. We have stumbled. We have busted our head. We have busted our lip. We have not learned. We can see the blood on the wall from generation past, and we have still not learned the lesson to unify ourselves around truth and righteousness and turning ourselves back to Yah and humbling ourselves prostrate before him, saying, Abba Yah, take the wheel. We don't want to do that. No discipline. And so we got to understand that we are under Yah. And so we've got to admit to ourselves that we don't want to put ourselves under anyone. We don't want to be under any kind of management. We don't want to be under any kind of rule. If there's a rule, it's meant to be broken. That's the mindset. All right. And so look at our past, look at our history, look at our communities, look at our own personal lives, and you will see that in many areas we are weak and undisciplined when it comes to righteousness. But when it comes to unrighteousness, we are strong, we're emboldened, we're willing to sacrifice whatever it takes for the cause of unrighteousness. But when it comes to the cause of righteousness, there is no one standing in the gap. Those who do try to stand in the gap, they are demonized. They are demonized. They are vilified. We say things like, oh, you think you better than the rest of us. Mm-hmm. And if we don't say it, we have the attitude, oh, you think your stuff don't stink. What a shame it is to live in a community who despises righteousness and uplifts and look at our music. Look at our music. You don't have to look far. Look at what is being listened to by our next generation. Well, forget about the next generation. Look at what's listened to by this generation. Look at the adults in this generation. We have said that we would rather unify against God. Oh, yes. That's what this generation have said. This generation of people have said, I don't need God. I got my career. I've got my money in the bank. I got my 401k. I have my retirement. I've got my 403b. I've got all the different trappings to get me ready to pull this bag down so that I can live my life the way I want to live it. I don't need God. After all, what has God done for us? Look at the plight we're in. If God was really real, why does he allow the police to kill us in the street? If God was for us, why does he allow all these evil things to happen to us? That's the mindset. That is the mindset of our community, y'all. And so hopefully Shavuot, and questioning and making us aware of the question, what is our unity, based on what calls us to think about doing making some sort of changes in our lives so that the next generation can hopefully begin to see a difference in how we choose to live from this day forward. All right. So let's get into this lesson today. Let's go to Exodus chapter 19. Exodus chapter 19. And we're going to jump right into blessings, blessings to you, man. Exodus chapter 19. And we're going to look at, let's start in verse 3. Exodus 19. And we're going to start in verse 3. All right. Okay. Let me do something really quick. Really quick, y'all. You know, I'm really grateful to Yah for this resolve that he's given me, y'all. I don't know where it came from. Well, I do know where it came from. I don't know why I have it, but I do. And this resolve is unique. It's unique. And my resolve is to seek the truth, to live it out loud on purpose, and then to allow my study to reflect that as well. This resolve, everybody doesn't have that resolve. They have it for a little while. But when some sort of issue comes up, they draw back and they return to the things that they are used to doing. And but here's my resolve. Let's look at the word of Yah. All right, so we're in Exodus chapter 19. We're going to start in verse number 3. It says, and Moses went up unto God, and the Lord called unto him out of the mountain, saying, thus shalt you say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel, ye have seen what I did unto the Egyptians. Well, if you remember, if you go back to Exodus chapter 12, verse 40, somewhere around 45 through 49, scripture says that that he would destroy. Where is that at? Where did he say that at? I will destroy the gods of Egypt. Where did he say that, y'all? And hold on, I'm going to get it for you because I want you to see this. Yeah, I was a little bit ahead of myself. So that's up here in Exodus 12. Let's see. Where did he say that at? Oh, yes. There we are. There we are. He says, I will pass through. He says, for I will pass through the land of Egypt this night, and I will smite all the firstborn of the land of Egypt, both man and beast, and against all the gods of Egypt, I'm going to execute judgment. You see that? That's pretty powerful. Exodus 12 and 12. You see that right there? He says, I'm going to pass through the land of Egypt this night. But the interesting thing is, he says he's going to execute. I will execute judgment on all the gods of Egypt. Okay. And so that is a powerful declaration to make, showing you that our God is superior to the gods of Egypt, and thereby showing that our gods is superior to the gods of Greece, which stole their concepts from Egypt. Now, people want to use a word like, well, there was cultural exchange. Okay, you can water it down. But why shoot the noses off of the Sphinx? Why do that if it was a cultural exchange? Why burn down the libraries if it was cultural exchange? So you got to answer for these things. And so let's get back to the word. Verse 4. You have seen what I did to the Egyptians, he said, he just told you in Exodus 12 and 12, and how I bear you on eagle's wings and brought you unto myself. Now, therefore, if you will obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, then you shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. Verse 6, and you shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These are the words which you shall speak unto the children of Israel, speaking to Moses. Verse 7, and Moses came and called for the elders of the people and laid before their faces all the words which the Lord commanded him. Verse 8, here's our verse. And all the people answered together. I want y'all to focus on this word together. With each other, all the people answered together and said, look it, there was not one individual. There was not one man. There was not one woman that said, I ain't doing this. All the people, the scripture says, all the people. Look at that unity. You see the unity that is possible when everyone has the same mindset. All the people answered together and said, all that the Lord has spoken, we will do. That's powerful. You think we can get a community of 100 people to say that? You get a group of 100 people, I guarantee about 50 will say, no, I don't know about that. Peace. You know what? I'm good. You get a group of 1,000 people. You think there'll be 100% unity? We can't even get 50 people to agree. We can't even get 20 people to agree because everybody thinks they know. What a shame it is. People don't know their role. People know they were ignorant. This is what I don't get. You know you was ignorant in high school. Well, people can grow. Well, no. Listen, check this out. If you had troubles computing and understanding and comprehending in high school, you don't think you don't have troubles now? Show the work. What work have you put in to change that? No, you've been going the same pace. You haven't done anything different. You haven't done anything to improve yourself. You haven't done anything to change that mindset. But yet, when it comes to the word of Yah, you got all the answers all of a sudden. Now you have a voice that should be listened to. See, you have some people that should lead and feed, but then you have some that should follow and swallow. Come on and go with me here. Until you're able to lead and feed. But you got to be truthful and honest in your area of expertise and in your station where you are right now when it comes to being a leader and being outspoken. Some people should just be quiet and learn, like I did for the first 10 to 12 years of my ministry. See, people see me now and think that I've always been like this. No, I had to learn. There were times where I couldn't even speak in the pulpit. So nervous. Yeah. But now you got people who feel like just because they got a degree in some subject, that qualifies them to be a leader when it comes to speaking the word. Well, I have an opinion too. Who cares about your opinion? We don't care. All we care about is what the scripture says here. All the people answered together and said 3 words: we will do. What are you doing? See that should be the criteria, or one of the criteria for leadership. Criterion. That should be one of the criterion for leadership. What are you doing? What kind of work have you put in that demonstrates your faith and your belief and your maturity? We don't have any community standards. Anybody can do whatever they want to do as long as they can say it, as long as they can think it and say it, they can do it. And Moses, the scripture continues, return the words of the people unto the Lord. I want to focus today on a couple of words in this text here. And the phrase, they answered together. See, one of the problems in our communities, and I'm praying that this Shavuot, we can focus on some things. One of the problems we have is that we are not in accordance with one another. There's no harmony. There's no conformity to the truth. There's resistance to the truth, but there's more resistance to the truth than there is conformity. There's no accordance. There's not even a plan to agree on the truth, because everyone has their own opinion of how they see it. And many of those people who say that they see it this way are not even qualified to have that opinion, but they think they are. So what do you do with a group of people who cannot agree on the truth because they think that they have rights and privileges as a human being to speak their mind just as equal as you? What if those people would have said, well, Moses, what makes you think that we got to conform to what you say the Lord said? Why we got to listen to you, Moses? What qualifies you, Moses? That's our attitude today. Oh, yes, it is. Oh, yes, it is. You could have the most ignorant person that cannot read, that cannot write, that needs help understanding their own mail, but yet they could tell the pastor what to do and what to think. Give me a break. Serious? Why? Because they have a right and privilege to say what they think? We don't fit together harmoniously. We don't have any type of we're not in concert with one another. We and I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why it's like that. Because we refuse to conform to the truth. Yeah. We refuse to conform to the truth. Well, I'm trying to do it. I'm doing the best I can do. No, you're not. No, you're not. Think about this. Think about when we were living for the enemy, and the enemy said, steal that fifth of Hennessy. Did you steal it or not? No, you stole that thing. You completed the task with no problems. By any means necessary. You didn't care about the consequences. You didn't care about what happened to you. Your goal was to steal the Hennessy and come back to the car so we can get drunk before the party. And guess what? We did it. You know why we did it? Because we conformed. We were in accordance. We had harmoniously agreed together. My question is this. If we could do that for the enemy, how come we can't do that for Yah? Look at what the people did for Yah. They didn't complain with Moses. Moses, verse 7, came and called the elders of the people. And none of the elders challenged him. None of the elders questioned him. It said, and Moses laid before their faces all these words which the Lord commanded him. See, this is what I'm realizing, y'all. I'm realizing when people have a problem with you and the way you live for God or the things you say for God, they don't have a problem with you. They got a problem with God. I need a drink. I need a drink on that. Nuh-uh. They don't have a problem with you. Oh no, you're the least of their worries. What they have their real problem is with God. And so, well, watch this. Here's the thing, though. When we see people being treated like that, when we see individuals who fight against the man of God, instead of coming to the man of God side and say, you know what, y'all need to stop set tripping on God and start acting right. That's not what happens. The man of God gets castrated. The man of God is made to feel, or the woman of God is made to feel like they're crazy for speaking the words of Yah. But all the elders allowed Moses to at least get all the thoughts out, to give them a full picture of what God was saying. You know, one of the things that's a problem in our community is that we don't allow people to fully represent what God is saying. We cut them off. We shut them down. We don't want to hear it. Why? Because truth be told, we really hate God. See, people don't want to admit it. Why don't you just admit it? Just be honest with yourself. Then you can get better. See, if you never admit, now you may say, well, I don't hate God. I love God. Well, then why don't you do what he says? See, we got to deal with this contradiction in our community. There is a blaring contradiction in our community, and no one wants to deal with it. And then the individual that does deal with it, we say that is a worse sin than the people who are contradicting God. That text says that they all answered together. The word here is echad. All right. It comes from the root word echad, which means one in essence, one in being. Um, it's going back to the scripture in Deuteronomy where it says, "Behold, Israel, the Lord our God is echad, is one." There's no division. There's no contradiction. All right. And so if we can get now, how many people now see, here's the thing. How many people, because it says all the people. You see that? All the people, men and women. How many men and women were there? There were over 1 million people. I should say adults. There were over 1 million adults, and all of them were on one accord. You mean to tell me not one of them? Not one raised up a difference of opinion. Not one critiqued Moses and what he was saying. Not one individual. You get 10 people in the room, you'll have 10 different opinions on what the word of Yah says. That's what's happening in our community, y'all. We got to fix this. We got to fix it. Watch the text. Now, what were they all agreeing to in verse 8 when it says, everything that the Lord has spoken to Moses, we will do? What were they agreeing to? Well, let's look at verse 10. Let's look at verse 10. Verse 10. Let's actually go down to 12 first. Let's go down to 12. Exodus 19 and 12. Exodus 19 and 12. Let's look at verse 12 first. All right. And then we'll go back to 10. And thou shalt set bounds. Thou shalt set bounds unto the people round about, saying, take heed to yourselves that you go not up into the mount or touch the border of it. Watch this. And here's the key. Whosoever toucheth the mountain shall surely be put to death. Can I say something, y'all? You got to identify the weak link in your group. Who's the weak link in your crew? Who's the weak link in your crew? Well, what do you mean by weak link? Who's the one that will put themselves above everything else? They put their own needs first. They put their own desires first. That's the weak link in your group. Who is that one? Because if you notice here, the evidence, it's one thing to say we will do. See, that's what the Israelites did. They said with their mouths that they will do. But now the question is, what is the evidence of our unity? The evidence of our unity is based on what are we going to do? You got to identify the weak link. In other words, you got to identify the individuals who refuse to do what the word says. Those are the weak links. Oh no, they talk a good game. They talk about it. They can quote it, and I trip off of people who say things like this. And usually it's pastors that say things like this. God has gifted me to understand the word and be able to interpret it and he's given me that discernment to be able to speak it to you. So in other words, you don't make mistakes. Everything, your interpretation is correct because God's giving you that gift. That's not scripture. That's not unique. That's not a unique gift to individuals. That is a gift to every pastor. He says, study to show thyself approved. It is good for doctrine. That means it's good for teaching. That means that I can understand the word and I can teach it correctly. It's good for reproof. It's good for correction. That means that if I see something that's happening wrong, that I have the discernment through the word to make those corrections that need to be made. But these pastors come along and try to pawn off this idea that God has gifted them, that's their gift to be able to do this. Man, miss me with that. Oh, no, you're not going to get me to buy your brain and believe in that because I know the word. Watch this. You have individuals who are at the mountain. Moses has just brought word back. The people said, whatever God says, we will do. Now it's time to demonstrate. Notice what it says. Go to verse 11. It says, and be ready against the third day. For the third day, the Lord will come down in the sight of all the people upon the mountain. And thou shalt, or Moses, you shall set bounds unto the people. See, here's the thing. Do you know what my job is as a pastor? One of them. See, I think people don't even understand that. I don't even think people biblically understand the role of a pastor. They see what a pastor has been in our current generation, but they don't know what a biblical pastor is. Why? Because they don't even read and study those topics. Watch what Moses did. Moses set boundaries on people. Oh my God. Oh my God. Do you understand how mad the people could have been? Because, we don't like people setting boundaries on us. Oh, no. Put boundaries on yourself, but don't put your boundaries on me. Moses, the Lord, watch this. It says the Lord will come down in the sight of all the people upon Mount Sinai. And then watch this. And you shall set boundaries unto the people. This is how you identify the weakness in your crew. Watch the people that don't want to abide and live their life with boundaries. And these are not just, watch this. Watch what kind of boundaries. Watch what kind of boundaries. Watch what verse 13 says. There shall not an hand touch it. Touch what? Touch the mountain. But he shall surely be stoned or shot through. Whether it be a beast or a man, it shall not live. When the trumpets sounded long, they shall come up to the mountain. Verse 14. And Moses went down from the mount unto the people and sanctified the people, and they washed their clothes. Now watch this. Here's the first boundary people don't like. People don't like you making holy requirements of them. Oh my God. Pete, listen carefully, y'all. The weakest link in your crew is the individual who refuses, who rejects, and who rebels against your holy boundaries. The text says, sanctify the people. Oh my God. Oh my God. So watch this. Let me go back a little bit because we're going to deal with sanctify the people, but I want to deal with these boundaries, setting these boundaries first. So we know from the text that Moses was required to set holy boundaries for the people. But let's look at these boundaries real quick. That word bound, set bounds, when he says, and thou shalt set bounds. Watch this. This word in the Hebrew, it means to twist. Vehig balta. All right. Vehig balta. It means to twist in the Hebrew. In other words, it means to twist like a rope. And it carries the idea, it also means to twist like a wet rope. And a wet rope, when you twist it, it wrings out all the water, all the dirt. It's almost like when they are washing their clothes. And my wife and I were watching Chosen the other night, and they were washing their clothes, and they were hitting the clothes on the rocks, and they were twisting the clothes. They were wringing out all the water, which had the dirt in it, the impurities. Come on, go with me here. I want to go with me here. And what happens is when you twist, all the impurities and the dirt begins to drop down. And see, what people don't like is when you begin to set boundaries, holy boundaries in their life, and to them, it's like you're twisting them. It's like you're putting too tight of a boundary on them. And they feel locked in. They feel like they can't do this, they can't do that. But what they don't understand is it's kind of like setting boundaries for a child. It's kind of like if you think about why we have crosswalks, where you have to walk in between this tight, narrow area. Why? It's for your protection. It's for your safety. It's the reason why we have traffic lights. It's the reason why we have all these different things that puts boundaries. It's the reason why we have speed bumps. It's the reason why we have speed limit signs. It's for your safety. These boundaries. Yes, it seems like it's tight. You can't do what you want in the street. You have to drive a certain speed when you're driving by a school, etc. People don't like that. And so let me get down to the nitty gritty. People don't like when you tell them to stop living foul. People don't like when you tell them to stop doing this or stop doing that. Well, you know, and this is what they say to you. They'll say this to you. Well, no one's perfect, Oh my God. We so lost, y'all. We are so lost. Because we didn't come up with those excuses when we were out there stealing and hustling and doing what we had to do to make ends meet. Oh, we had no excuses. But all of a sudden, we come over to this side of salvation. And Yah says, be holy for I am holy. And now we come up with all kinds of excuses. Oh no. Let's go to Deuteronomy. I want to show you something in Deuteronomy 10. Deuteronomy 10, 14. Deuteronomy 10 and 14. I want to show you this. Because this is what we're doing. Deuteronomy 10 and 14. It says, behold, the heaven and the heaven of heavens is the Lord's, thy God, the earth also with all that therein is. You see this? You may say, well, what does that mean? These are the Lord's boundaries. Look at God's boundaries. He says, behold, the heaven and the heaven of heavens is the Lord's. It belongs to him. Those are his boundaries. Then it says, the earth also, and then all that dwell therein. Those are his boundaries. In other words, he controls everything. See, we want those boundaries. See, that's the problem. We don't want any limitations on what we can and cannot do, let alone somebody telling us. Somebody else who's flawed, somebody else who's not perfect, someone else who has just as much sin in their life as you. We don't want anyone telling us what we can and cannot do, because we can always point to at least 5 or 6 things that they're doing worse than what we're doing. Oh, we don't want it. How are you going to tell me to stop drinking and you smoke marijuana? How are you going to tell me to stop fornicating when you cheating on your wife? See, you see how that works? That's where we are right here today. And you know, that mindset, y'all, it destroys the unity that's possible. See, we don't have any evidence that we want to be unified because we got weak links in our crew, in our circle, in our family. We got weak links in our friend groups who simply want to do what they want to do, and they don't want anyone correcting them. Mm-mm. Oh no, no, there's no evidence of unity. These Israelites, when Moses told them to, let me go back to Exodus. When Moses told them what the Lord had said, and they said, we will do. And then all of a sudden, Moses turns around and he begins to set bounds on the people and say they cannot even touch the mountain. They did it. They did it, y'all. What's up with us? How come we can't just do it? Why do we got to make excuses about what we can and cannot do as it pertains to what God has said for us to do? Moses is those are not Moses's rules. These were God. By the way, the people said, we will do. Isn't that what we said when we came to the Lord? Lord, if you get me out of this, I will do whatever you tell us to do. But when it comes down to demonstrating and showing that we love you, we come up with excuses. I know it's tight, but it's right. Oh, I know I'm twisting tight. But see, we got to twist tight and set bounds so that we can wring out all of that mess that's been accumulating. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, no, your boundaries, look, you can't have the same boundaries as God. Oh, no. You need someone in your life to set boundaries of holiness around you. Why are you rejecting that? Why are you rejecting that? Watch what verse. Let's go down to verse 22. Let's go to verse 22. Because I'm going to come back to sanctify the people and they wash their clothes. Let me see. Let me just go to 22 because I want to see. Okay, yeah, 22. Watch this. And let the priests also, which come near to the Lord, sanctify themselves, lest the Lord break through or break forth upon them. And Moses said unto the Lord, the people cannot come up to Mount Sinai, for thou chargest us, saying, set bounds about the mount and sanctify it. So not only do they have to sanctify themselves, they also have to sanctify the mountain. Now watch this. The priests. Oh my goodness. The Kodashim. The priests had to be sanctified as well. Well, what does it mean that they were sanctified in unity or unity in holiness? What is this? Well, the priests and the people had to show that they were united, that they were a unit. You see where the word unit comes from, or the word united? It has the word unit in it. That you are one unit, knit together. But watch this. You're not knit together in your flesh or knit together in what you say. You are knit together in your mind and in your heart. That's what this word Vekodashim means. It's not just something that is said. It is not just something you verbalize, but it is a commitment. It is a heart commitment that is seen in setting holy boundaries. In other words, your commitment to holiness is seen not in what you say, but is seen in what you do. And there lies the problem. Because this word sanctify, it means that you have to reject certain things as well. It means you have to reject things that you want to do. And then you have to do things you don't want to do. See, that's what hakodashim means. You reject things that you want to do, and then you do things that you don't want to do. See, we have a problem, especially when someone like Moses tells us to do something we don't want to do. Bottom line. Oh boy. No, we don't want to hear that, Moses. We don't want to hear that from you. Let's go to verse 15, because here's another boundary. Here's another boundary that within the context. So not only did the people have to wash their clothes, in verse 14, it says that Moses went down from the mountain unto the people and sanctified the people, and they washed their clothes. So in other words, when he sanctified them, part of them demonstrating that they were sanctified or holy or set apart or different was that they washed their clothes. All right. In other words, and that gives us the picture. That gives us the picture of setting boundaries. They wrung their clothes out. They had to work. They had to put forth an effort to set these boundaries by wringing and twisting their clothes to clean them, to wash them and sanctify them. But watch what verse 15 says. Here's another boundary. And he said unto the people, be ready against the third day, and come not at your wives. You see that? So Moses is talking to the married people now. And Moses is setting boundaries on married people's sexual lives. Oh my goodness. He told them, you have to go back to being celibate. Oh. Now, this concept of celibacy, there's a physical aspect, but then there's a spiritual aspect. Celibacy means that you have to challenge yourself to be disciplined. Oh my. But it's not discipline to punish someone, but it's discipline for a greater good. It's disciplining yourself because Yah has said to do this. Celibacy. You know, celibacy means you have control. Yeah. That you are not out of control, that you can control your vessel. That's physical. The spiritual side of celibacy means, because oftentimes when it says come not at your wives, this can be also be translated. You know what? Let me show you. Because I want you guys to see that I'm not just making stuff up. When he says come not at your wives. Is it this word? Yeah. So when he says come not at your wives, y'all, he's talking about sexual intercourse. All right. And he's referring to, but it's not just, so when he's talking about sexual intercourse, that's the physical part. But then there is a spiritual aspect to sexual intercourse also. And if you look down here, it has to do with religious worship. In other words, what Moses was telling the children of Israel was this: They already got married to God. They got married to the Most High. In verse 8, we will do. They say it all together in one voice. So they were married to the Most High. In other words, they committed to worshiping him and him alone. But when he says, come not at your wives, not only was he saying physically your natural wife, but he was saying also spiritually, do not worship any other gods during this time. During this time, I'm setting all these boundaries on you. You can't go near the mountain. I'm going to come and speak to you. He says, don't be tempted to turn back in worship of other gods. In other words, don't be tempted to cheat on me with another God. Oh, come on and go with me here. He says, discipline yourself to remain faithful to me. Why would he have to tell the Israelites this? Why would he have to make this request before God delivered to them the commandments? Well, you got to understand something about the Israelites. They had just been delivered from Egypt. Do you know what kind of sexual perversion they were exposed to in Egypt? Oh, I'm glad you said no. Here, let me show you. Let me show you what kind. So this is called the Cairo Long Song, and it's on the Chester Beatty papyrus, and it's called Chester Beatty because he's the one that found this papyrus. And so I want to show you guys this. And this one is not bad. This one is not, as bad as it could be. But here you have some love songs and some poems. Okay. And we're going to look at just a couple of them, stanza 1, 4, and 5. All right. And so it says, sister without rival, most beautiful of all. She looks like the star goddess rising at the start of a good new year. Perfect and bright, shining skin, seductive in her eyes when she glances, sweet in her lips when she speaks, and never a word too many. Slender neck, shining body, her hair is true lapis. Her arm gathers gold. Her fingers are like lotus flowers, ample behind. Are like lotus flowers. Oh, sorry. I lost my place. Ample behind, tight waist. Her thighs extend her beauty, shapely in stride. She talking. These are black folk. Come on and go with me here. Ample behind, tight waist. Come on. They ain't describing no Europeans. Come on. Shapely in stride. When she steps on the earth, she has stolen my heart with her embrace. She has made the neck of every man turn around at the sight of her. Whoever embraces her is happy. He is like the head of lovers. And she is seen going outside like that goddess and the one goddess. Now, let me say this. You have to understand what the Israelites were leaving, what they were exposed to in Egypt. In ancient Egypt, during the time of slavery, during their enslavement, there was what is called sexual rituals. Okay. They worshiped their gods because they were worshiping the god of fertility. They had sexual rituals that they would engage in. And out of these sexual rituals would come these poems, these songs. And here's one example. This one is not that bad. Let's go to now this particular poem is a back and forth between a male and female. So the man is saying one, then the woman says the other. And so let's look at number 3 or number 4, stanza 4. My heart bears itself instantly at the memory of your love. It does not let me walk like a person. It has strayed from its shelter. It does not let me put on a dress. Ooh, I cannot even wrap my scarf. No coal can be put. No, my eye, I am not anointed with oil. Don't stand there. Go in to him. It tells me at each memory of him. Don't, my heart, be stupid at me. Why are you acting the fool? Sit, be cool. The sister has come to you. But my eye is just as troubled. Don't make people say of me, she is a woman fallen by love. Be firm each time you remember him. My heart, do not stray. My goodness. Now, I mean, that's a little heated, but it's not as bad as what I'm about to show you. Now, here's his comeback. Here's the male comeback. I worship the gold goddess. I sing of her presence. I raise up the Lady of Heaven. I give adoration to Hathor. You guys, if you're interested, you can look up Hathor. It's a very interesting fertility ritual that is performed by the god Hathor. Praise to the mistress. I reported to her, and she heard my pleas. She ordered a mistress for me, and she has come herself to see me. What a great thing has happened to me. I felt overjoyed, ecstatic, great when told, hey, she is there. Look, she has come. The amorous are bowed. So great is the love of her. I send my prayers to my goddess. You see that? She gave me the sister as a gift. 3 days to yesterday since my pleas. In her name, since she left me, is day 5. My goodness, the brother's counting the days. All right. Now that's just an example of a love poem that comes out of sexual rituals. All right. But it gets even a little raunchier. So if you look up this word here, anasirma or anasirma, okay, either anasirma or anasirma. And anasirma or anasirma was an ancient feast, all right, which involved a sexual ritual. And the ritual that it involved was lifting up skirts or lifting up your garments and showing your private parts. All right. And so if you can see in this picture here, the lifting up of the garment, showing the private parts, these were types of rituals that were done in ancient Egypt that the Israelites were exposed to. And so when God told the Israelites to not go into your wives, in other words, he was saying, I want you to leave off everything that will separate you from being close to me. And watch this. We know that engaging in sexual activity with your wife can be a barrier. Now, some people may not look at that. Some people say, well, I get closer to my wife when we engage in being fruitful and multiplying. But it can be a barrier to some from getting close to God. All right. And considering the Israelites were exposed to this type of these sexual rituals in Egypt, God said, I don't want anything to enter into your mind that will compete with getting close to me. So watch this, y'all. Share this with you. And so this is the Anasirma or fertility ritual in ancient Egypt from Hathor to Hermaphroditus. Right. So let me go down to, is it this one? Hold on. Okay, so this is just going to tell you briefly what it is. So the Anasirma is a fertility ritual. I'm reading right here. is a fertility ritual in which a person or a divinity lifts up their skirt to show their genitals. The first Egyptian attestation is noted in the Chester Beatty 1 papyrus. Hathor lifts up her robe in front of the god Ra to make him laugh after he was offended by the god Bebam. Okay. Let me go down just a little bit. Okay, so look at this. Starting right here. At the present moment, 16 figurines depicting the god Hermaphroditus were found in Lower Egypt, all dating to the Greco-Roman period, and 8 of them show Hermaphroditus. The god was believed to be the inventor of marriage, okay, and to be part of the sacred cycles of Aphrodite and Dionysus, associated in Egypt with Hathor. All right. And so what you're seeing here is you have these Greek goddess Aphrodite and Dionysus, which they say are associated with the Egyptian goddess Hathor. In other words, notice how they say associated with. No, they stole the concept from Egypt. All right. Greece stole this concept from Egypt and incorporated it into their Greek society and their Greek pantheon of gods. All right. Even if we consider anathema as a apotropaic ritual in Egypt, it has a strong link with fertility. In a time when having an abundance of resources was vital for the progress of society and the survival of the people, it was of great importance to assure a copious harvest also through religious practice. And so what they're saying here is that in Egypt, what they would do in order to ensure a great harvest, in order to ensure success in their generations, they would appeal to the sexual rituals, to goddesses to make that happen. I wonder when Joseph prophesied and said there would be 7 years of famine and 7 years of plenty. I wonder, did that have anything to do with the Egyptians engaging in these sexual fertility rituals? I'm just wondering, just curious about that. But let me go down here. Yeah, it just kind of tells a little bit more. Starting from the end of the late period, and in particular during the Ptolemaic rule of the land. So, guys, this word right here, a lot of people now, some people may say, well, it's okay if you can't pronounce the word. But here are people who claim to be scholars and they say Ptolemaic. It's not, listen, it's not Ptolemaic. You're making us look ignorant just because you want to spotlight and show that you're smart. Look, fall back and learn so that you can represent our culture properly and correctly. All right. It's Ptolemaic. The P is silent. Ptolemaic rule of the land. Egypt sees the rise of a particular kind of terracotta figurines representing women self-exposing their genitals by lifting up their skirts. All right. And so, yeah, it goes on. I can leave this in the chat for you if you're interested in checking this out. But yeah, these were the different kinds of sexual rituals that were being practiced in Egypt that the Israelites were exposed to. Here's another one. Nephthys, sex and fertility goddess. All right, so look at the image, y'all. Look at the image. This is what the Israelites were exposed to. And really what we can say is they were exposed to porn. I mean, if we could be honest, What the Israelites were exposed to in these sexual rituals in Egypt was on par or equivalent to pornography. Look at the image. These were the gods that they worshiped in Egypt, that Moses was exposed to growing up, becoming a man, that the Israelites were exposed to. Their whole society was involved in these sexual rituals. Why? Because it made their society successful. It gave them a plenteous harvest. It made them not have to be exposed to famine and dearth, but it allowed them to prosper and to move forward. And then if you look at our society today, our society is a reflection of its sexual perversion and sexual rituals that is found. Now, some people don't believe this, but pornography is a religion and it has a God. And this is why people are, I shouldn't say addicted, but they are addicted. But this is why people engage in these practices and watching porn, because it is a form of worship that the enemy has trapped them into doing. So watch this.
To the Out of This World show. 7 goddesses of ancient Egypt and their stories. Number 7. Mot. Number 2. Nephthys. Nephthys is the sister of Isis, Osiris and Set. Nephthys weds Set but rapidly falls in adour with Osiris when he sees him carrying out his mission as ruler of Egypt. One night, she camouflages herself as Isis to be able to deceive Osiris, and hence have sexual relations with the last mentioned, who would take her for his spouse, Isis. From this ill-conceived union, Nephthys gets to be pregnant with Anubis. However, Nephthys is perplexed that Set will be irate when he learns the presence of Anubis, conceived with Osiris. So she deserts the infant to certain passing within the Forsaken. Luckily, Anubis is bolstered for some days by jackals, then in time found by Isis, who will raise him as her own son. The infidelity of Nephthys contributes incredibly to the envy of Set of Osiris. In this way, Nephthys participates indirectly in the future kill of Osiris by Set, which is able to take out a long time after his infidelity. Number 1. Isis.
Okay. So you can see that in Egypt, these sexual encounters and rituals was so prevalent that they believed that the gods engaged in these sexual activities. And if they were going to have a harvest that was plenteous, then they would have to do ritual sexual activities amongst themselves in an offering or worship to these gods. All right. Now we can go into the Canaanites, but I'm just going to read this for you. The Canaanite gods Baal and Astarte were part of the Phoenician religion that predates the Israelites. They were part of the Phoenician practice of goddess worship and fertility cult, which persisted for centuries in that civilization's rituals celebrating the mother, nature god, goddess. Okay. And so the goddess Astarte, the Phoenician religion fertility renewal. So look at the image. Y'all see this image? Okay. Look at this guy on the left protruding out toward her. Okay. So these are the images of the Egyptian goddess and fertility goddess.
From Phoenician mythology. She was not only the goddess of love, but also of fertility and war, a unique combination that made her a key figure in ancient religion. Astarte held sway over matters of the heart. She was often invoked in matters of romance and family love. Astarte was also the goddess of fertility, a beacon of hope for those wishing to start families. But Astarte was not just a goddess of creation. As the goddess of war, she ruled over conflicts and battles, her power both feared and revered. Astarte symbolized the intricate balance between creation and destruction, love and war, life and death. She represented the dual nature of existence. As such, Astarte is a symbol of the interconnectedness of all aspects of life, a testament to the richness and complexity of the human experience. Meet Goddess Astarte.
All right. Now, you may say, well, what does this have to do with Egypt? Well, you got to understand that during Egypt's reign and rule, they had a lot of interaction with Canaan. All right. The rulers of Canaan actually paid tribute to Egypt. All right. And so you had a lot of interaction between their religions. And it is said that the Egyptian religions had a lot of influence on Canaan. And so hence the sexual fertility gods and goddesses were also worshipped in Canaan and had an influence on the Israelites as well. Right. And so let's get back to our lesson, y'all, because again, we're talking about setting boundaries. There are a lot of boundaries that are important if we're going to remain holy, not just during this time of Shavuot, but for Shavuot and beyond. There's some discipline that you're going to have in your mindset. And you know why? Because in order to have a Torah mindset, you have to come to grips with, and we have to come to grips with our tainted memories. Torah mindset over our tainted memories. What do you mean? If you're going to discipline yourself to be holy, you're going to have to engage your mind in the Torah. You're going to have more input of the Torah than you do with your memories. Now I want you to remember this. I want you to remember, I'm going too fast. I'm going to hold that thought. It's coming up. Let's go to Exodus 14 and 12. I'm going to hold that thought. I'm getting ahead of myself. Exodus 14 and 12. I want to show you this first. Exodus 14. Why would Yah have to tell the Israelites this? Exodus 14:12. Look at what the Israelites say. I want you to see their memory. Watch this. Is not this the word that we did tell thee in Egypt, saying, let us alone, that we may serve the Egyptians? For it had been better for us to serve the Egyptians than that we should die in the wilderness. Now, this is after they were delivered from Egypt, from the house of bondage, but they're saying it would have been better if we go back and serve the Egyptians. And what they were saying is serve not only the Egyptians, but serve their gods. Look at their memory. See, this is what Moses was fighting against when he had to set boundaries on their holiness. He was dealing with a mindset that would say, I reject God, I reject everything about God, and that I would rather serve the Egyptians. I don't want to serve God, but I would rather serve the Egyptians. As a matter of fact, it was better when I served the gods of Egypt. It was better for us. And that's many of our mindsets today. Dang, man, I used to have fun when I was an unbeliever, but now it seems like it's boring, man. I don't even do it. Was better, man. It was way better. Now you can't do nothing. You can't eat certain things. You can't do certain things. I mean, it's too many boundaries. It's too many. I can't handle this. I don't want this no more. I'd rather go. Look. I mean, to be honest, I'd rather go back to doing what I was doing before. I can't handle all these boundaries. I mean, you said too many boundaries all at once. No, it's just too much. It was better for us when we were in the world. It was better for us when we was doing Sunday worship. It was better for us when we was eating pork, having barbecues and throwing all kind of lobster and crab. And I mean, all these, look, it was way better. Look, it was better when we could celebrate Christmas, having New Year's parties. And here come this one dude, Moses, trying to put all these boundaries of holiness on it. It's just too much. My memory won't allow me to be Torah minded. My God. Watch what Leviticus 18. Let's go to Leviticus 18. So you see the mindset. Leviticus 18, verse 1. And the Lord spoke unto Moses. Again, this is the Most High. Speak to the children of Israel and say to them, these are God's words. I am the Lord your God. After the doings of the land of Egypt, wherein you dwelt, shall you not do. And after the doings of the land of Canaan, I just showed you guys the Canaanite goddess start, and then the Egyptian goddess. He says, and after the doings of the land of Canaan, whether I bring you, you shall you not do. Neither shall you walk in their ordinances. You shall do my judgments and keep mine ordinances to walk in them. I am the Lord your God. You shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, which if a man do, he shall live in them. I am the Lord. You see that? I want you to see this where he says he shall live in them. Watch this. Oh, you see this word high in the Hebrew? Look at what high means. To live, to have life, to remain alive, sustain life, to live prosperously. To live prosperously. If I put boundaries, if I stop doing all the stuff I used to do in the world, if I stop doing all that stuff and start putting boundaries in my life, holy boundaries, living according to the Torah, right now, then I can live prosperously. We don't believe that. Then I can be restored to life and health. We don't want that. No. He says, verse 5, you shall therefore keep my statutes, my judgments, which if a man do, he shall live in them. That means your lifestyle. Listen, you can't have a lifestyle of holiness in the Torah if we keep making excuses for why we can't do what the Torah tells us to do. Excuses are tools for the incompetent, building monuments of nothing. Let's go to Exodus chapter 20. Exodus 20, verse 1. And God spoke all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. See, y'all, we want to go back. We want to live in the house of bondage. You've got to do more than just say with your lips, you're an Israelite. You have to do more than just say with your lips that I want to live the Torah. See, you got to understand that you've come out of a house of bondage. We were slaves to sin. That's why the Israelites said it would be better if we go back and be slaves to the Egyptians, if we serve the Egyptians. See, you see how that works? Now, this right here, I want to say this. You got to have this mindset. I did it before. I can do it again. I did it before. I can do it again. Let's go to Psalm chapter 2. Watch this. Psalm chapter 2. Verse 2. Let's go to verse 1. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? Awesome question. Why do the heathen rage and imagine vain stuff? Just empty thinking. I mean, just like our news. I mean, here we are, they focusing on Trump and how Trump was indicted. So what? So what? Can a guy run for president and he was indicted? So what? It's vain compared to everything else that's going on in the world. My wife just sent me something, and what did she send me here? While we're bickering about what, where's that thing that you sent me? Hold on. Let me get this. Let me pull this up real quick. Where did she send this to me? Hold on. Hold on, man. Is it right here? Oh, yeah. See, while we're bickering over Trump and questioning how can he become president, you see that? Look at that. 18. Watch this. You can't even go to college. You can't even qualify for financial aid if you don't register with the Selective Service. Now, I remember I registered with the Selective Service going in. That's the first thing they ask you to do in going to college. You will not get any financial aid if you don't register with the Selective Service. Now, registering with the Selective Service now means that you're eligible for the draft. Mm-hmm. And so we don't even know what's happening and how many soldiers does China and Russia have? But we know about Trump and how he was indicted and how he can still run for president, which is a vain thing compared to your boys and girls being put on the front line. That if you're going to go to college, if you have children that are in college, they're already registered for the Selective Service, which qualifies them to automatically be registered for the draft. And guess what? There's a history of putting our people on the front line. Oh, yes. See, we don't know nothing about that. Here, I'll put this in here. I'll put it in for you so you can check it out. See, we need to get a grip on what Abba Yah says is important and then teach that to our kids. Instead of trying to shut down the man of Yah from setting boundaries. You did it before, you can do it again. Well, what do you mean, Pastor? Look at this. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? Watch this. The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together, unified, against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. So watch this. Why is it that when we can't get together on how to provide better education for our children, provide better parenting, provide answers for crime in our neighborhoods, how come we can't get together, when our leaders can't get together on that, they can get together on God? Come on and go with me here. Oh, they don't know how to get together when it comes to solving the problem, the real problems, but let them get together. The first thing that they can come together on is getting rid of God. They took prayer out of schools and the schools got worse. They took reading the Bible out of schools and the schools got worse. They put in abortion. Do you know your kids can get an abortion without you even knowing about it at school? They take counsel together against the Lord and his anointed. Now watch this. We used to do that too. The ideas and the words we would speak, we could be bickering with friends, but when it came to doing something rebellious, when it came to doing something against God, we was all cool. It was all good. How come it can't be like that now? We used to do it before. We did it before. What's wrong today? If we could have unity in rebellion against God, then we can have unity in working with God. We did it before, we can do it again. Yah's work is more important than the enemy's work. And the only way that we're going to see that is if some Moses comes along in our lives and sets boundaries so that we can live holy and righteous before our Yah. I'm just saying. Well, this is not something that just happened in the Tanakh. Let's go to Acts chapter 12. Acts chapter 12. And you can read the entire chapter 12, or Acts chapter 18, sorry. You can read the entire chapter 18. I'm not going to read it. I'm just going to go to verse 12. And you're going to see the point. Let's see. Let me start in verse 11. Speaking of Paul, and he continued there a year and 6 months, teaching the word of God among them. And when Gallio was a deputy of Achaia, the Jews made insurrection. Watch this. With what? With one accord against Paul, and brought him to the judgment seat. You see how this is? You see how evil works? Are you telling me that there's more unity in the kingdom of darkness and in the kingdom of light? Is that what you're telling me? Are you telling us that there's more power to be unified in the kingdom of darkness than there is in the kingdom of light? Is that what you're telling me? Husbands, you mean to tell me you can't get your family on one accord, but all of a sudden you can have a family of people who are into drinking, smoking, and nobody has a problem with it? At the barbecue? But you get someone like Moses who wants to set boundaries of holiness on the family, and all of a sudden there's a problem? Oh, you got me twisted. You got God twisted. Remember, they don't hate you. They hate God. There's unity in rebellion against God, but there's no unity with God. Shavuot says, and Pentecost says, no, we can come together. we can be unified. We can have the same mind and be unified. Let's go to Acts chapter 2. Because now we saw the Israelites come together at Shavuot. Now let's see the disciples come together at Pentecost. And when the day of Pentecost was fully come, they were, here it is, they were all with one accord. You see that? In other words, this word echad is the same word in the Greek as homothumadon. Homothumadon. It means under the same direction. It means under the direction of a concert master. I don't care what instrument you play. I don't care where you're sitting at in the orchestra. I don't care how long your piece is or how short it is. This word homothumadon, the same direction, means that the concert master doesn't have to worry about someone in the tuba section getting mad at someone in the drum section because they got a longer piece. And so the Ruach Kodesh blends our lives together as members of one orchestra, the body of Yeshua HaMashiach, to come together to get the work done without folk getting jealous, without folk getting mad, without folk getting envious, and without someone trying to raise an insurrection because they're not singing the song that you want to sing. Come on and go with me here. Ooh, we so petty. We so petty, y'all. We are so petty. And it makes me sick to my stomach that we can be so petty when it comes to God's work, but when it comes to the enemy's work, we can throw a great function that involves all kinds of unrighteousness and nobody's complaining. Everybody's on one accord to do what is wrong. No wonder why we can't come together as a people, because we want to be unified, not around truth and holiness and righteousness, but we want to be unified around wickedness. And that's where you at. If the shoe fits, wear it. Look, I dare you. Look, you know what? I'm gonna have a different mindset. I'm gonna start with a different mindset, because a lot of times people get mad at the preacher for speaking truth, and then the preacher, we cower down and say, well, you know, we just trying to do our best to live. Dang that. You come at me, I'm coming at you. How about that? That's where you want to take it. And then you're gonna try to blame me for taking it there? No, you took it there. Humble down and submit, and it won't go anywhere. See, we don't want to do that. Oh, I know it's tight, but it's right. You look, listen, you can't bring no argument against what I'm saying. The only thing you can do is get mad at me. See, that's when you know you're speaking the truth. When they can't say anything that you did that was wrong, but they try to come at you with your attitude. They try to come at you and say, well, you didn't say it right. They try to come at you with all of this stuff instead of just submitting to the word. Miss me with that. Please miss me. And see, you want to know why? Let's go to Romans 15. I want to show you why there cannot be genuine praise and worship. Genuine praise and worship that comes out of a pure heart. How come we can't have that? Why is it such a problem to have genuine praise and worship? See, this is how we can invite Yah in so that we can have, so that, watch this, so that Yah can be comfortable with our boundaries. of holiness. See, we're thinking about everybody else instead of the one we should be thinking about. Have we even thought about, well, what does God think about this? What does God think about? What does the Most High think about the fact that we can't come together and be united with him? Why we can't come together and do what we said what our lips said we would do? That's why the scripture says, my people draw near to me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. Watch what Paul says in Romans 15:5. Now, the God of patience and consolation grant you to be like-minded, one toward another, according to Yeshua HaMashiach, according to the truth, not according to your color, not according to your feelings. Verse 6, that you may with one mind and one mouth glorify the Most High, even the Father of our Lord Yeshua HaMashiach. You want to know why we can't glorify God and praise and glorify God in our work for the kingdom? It's because we don't have the same mind. Everybody got their own set of mind rules that they follow. Everybody has their own set of things that are important, instead of having one mind. Well, we know that Paul wants us to have one mind because he keeps telling us over and over again. He keeps telling us. He just keeps on telling us. He says, I beseech you. He's begging. Paul is begging at this point. He told the church in Rome, the churches in Rome. Now he's having to tell the churches in Corinth. Paul is seeing a pattern of division among people who say with their lips they love the Lord. And so Paul has to resort to begging. He says, I beseech you, brethren, believers, by the name of our Lord Yeshua HaMashiach, that you all speak the same thing. He says, let alone doing the same thing. He says he can't even get us to say the same things. Someone always got to come at you in a different way, in opposition, instead of just submitting to what the truth is and what's being said. And that there be no division among you, but that you be perfectly joined together in the same mind. For it hath been declared unto me, brethren, by them which are of the house of Chloe, that there's contentions. Why is there contention? Look at what the contention is. Some say, now this I say, that every one of you saith, I am of Paul, I am of Apollos, I am of Cephas, I am of Christ. Paul says, is the Messiah divided? Was Paul crucified for you? Were you baptized in the name of Paul? Watch this. The threat to unity is that people have misplaced love. Your love is misplaced. In other words, instead of having ultimate and final love for the Messiah, Paul is saying you have misplaced your love because you have ultimate love and respect for people instead of Yeshua HaMashiach. There's a problem. It's a problem. Let's go to Acts chapter 1. Because here's another thing. Not only are we lacking praise, but Acts chapter 1 tells us something else we're lacking in our unity. Acts chapter 1. Watch this. Acts chapter 1, verse 12. Then returned they unto Jerusalem from the mount called Olivet, which is from Jerusalem a Sabbath day's journey. And when, watch this, and when they were come in, they went up into an upper room, abode both Peter and James, and John and Andrew, Philip, Thomas, Bartholomew, Matthew, James the son of Alphaeus, and Simon Zealots, and Judas the brother of James. These all continued with one accord, but it was in prayer and supplication. And they were with the women. And the women wasn't trying to rule over the men. The women weren't trying to dictate and tell the men what they should be praying for, or how to pray, or when to pray, or do it like this. Put a bow behind this ear. Wear this. Taste that. Do that. No, they were all together on one accord. With the women, Mary, the mother of Jesus, and with his brethren. Now, why were they all praying? What were they praying about? Oh. Let's look at the text. Go down to verse 21. Wherefore of these men which have accompanied us all the time that the Lord Jesus went in and out among us, beginning from the baptism of John, which was the beginning of Yeshua's ministry, until the same day that he was taken up from us, until his death, burial, and resurrection. It was about 3 years. Watch this. This is what they were praying about. Must one be ordained to be a witness with us of his resurrection? Watch this. And they appointed two, Joseph called Barsabbas, who's surnamed Justus, and Matthias, or Matthias. And they prayed and said, Thou, Lord, which knowest the hearts of all men, show whither of these two thou hast chosen, that, watch this, that he may take part of this ministry and apostleship, from which Judas by transgression fell. Remember Judas Iscariot? He deceived and betrayed Yeshua and then hung himself, that he might go to his own place. Look what they were praying about, y'all. Things pertaining to ministry and apostleship. Let me drop this on you. Where does ministry rank in your household? Oh, man. Where does ministry rank on the list in your household of things that are important to do? And the way you answer that is by answering this question. What ministry are you involved in? How much time do you devote to it? How much of your treasure do you devote to it? And how much of your heart do you devote to it? Where does ministry rank in your household? My God. See, y'all, there's no level of importance put on ministry. It's only the bare minimum. The bare minimum requirement. That's why there's no unity. Because we all have different and competing interests of things that are important. Oh, I know I'm tight. Oh, I know. Oh, my God. I know this is tight, but it is right on time. See, this is why you can have people who come to a ministry who don't know nothing about the ministry and try and dictate what that ministry should and should not be doing. What? Who's this speaking? By the way, what is your name anyway? We don't even know you. You ain't even been around long enough. Look what the text says. Look at the text. Verse 21. Wherefore of these men which have companied with us All the time that the Lord Jesus went in and out among us, beginning from the baptism of John until the same day he was taken up, must one be ordained to be an apostle. You just got here. How you going to be in an authoritative position and you just showed up? You ain't even been to a whole series of Bible studies yet. You ain't even went through new members class and you trying to dictate and determine terms of what should and shouldn't happen in the ministry. Sit down until you put in some time. See, there's a problem with me saying that, but I'm going to say it because it's the truth, Ruth. That's what the text says. The text said these two men, Justus and Matthias, they were there from the beginning of the ministry of Yeshua until his resurrection. They have went through the hardships. In other words, they have put in the work, and most importantly, they have demonstrated a lifestyle of holiness over a consistent period of time. They didn't make excuses about how hard it was to leave fishing to follow Jesus. Come on and go with me here. They said, no, we can't put people in authoritative positions who make excuses. Nah. Because I'm going to point to your memory. I'm going to bring you back to your memory. Because if you did all of that wickedness for the enemy, if you had all that energy and you had all that commitment to doing wickedness, but now you come with excuses for doing righteousness, miss us with that. We're not picking you. We're not choosing you for this ministry. See, people don't want to hear that because they never learned as a kid. They never learned growing up to have discipline. They never learned growing up to have responsibility. They never learned growing up to be committed to nothing but themselves. No, we're not having that. The apostle said, we won't look. We're going to appoint only two. Do you want to know how many were following them? Do you want to know how many they had to choose from? I was just reading this the other day. I hope I can find it. I was just reading this the other day. Where's it at? Oh, come on, let me find it. I was just reading this. Hold on. I'm going to find it. I'm going to find this because I want to show you out of the two, I want to show you the percentage of individuals. I'm going to find it for you. Watch this, y'all. Because I'm committed like that. Hold on. I'm going to find this. Oh, there it is. Oh, okay. I was just right there. I missed it. Hold on. Here we go. Look at this. I was right there. I don't know how come I didn't. Look at this. And in those days, hold on. Where is this? Hold on. Yeah, it was right there. I should have just kept going. Verse 14. These all continue with one accord in prayer and supplication with Mary and the women. Watch this. And in those days, Peter stood up in the midst of the disciples and said, the number of names together were about 120. So how many did they pick to be apostles? 2 out of 120 folk. Only 2 qualified. My God. So you know what? If you grinding for Yah, if you're committed to Yah, you're living and people are complaining about that and you're walking in holiness, understand that 118 out of 120 are not even qualified to be in the position that you're in. Oh, that make me feel good. That should make you feel better about yourself. That you, out of 120 people, are that you are the one that was even qualified Out of 120 people, only 2 people were even qualified to even be considered to be in the position that you're in. They're not even qualified. No commitment. Look, where were they at throughout the ministry? From when John was baptized into the point of the resurrection, what were they doing? I think, watch this. I got more evidence. I got more coming. Watch this. Oh my God. Let's go to Luke 10. Watch this. I'm about to bust this thing wide open now and prove my point. Well, I'm not proving my point, but I'm just preaching and teaching. Look at this. Luke 10, verse 1. After these things, the Lord appointed other 70 also, and sent them 2 by 2 before his face into the city and place, whither he himself would come. Therefore said unto them, the harvest truly is great, but the laborers are few. The harvest is ripe, but the laborers are few. I wonder how many disciples at this time did he have to say the laborers are few, and he sent 70. Come on and go with me here. But watch this. He sent them 2 by 2. You know what that tells me? They had to have the same mind. They had to be on one accord. Let me say this. Do you know what disqualifies people the most? Is the fact that they do not know how to be unified with somebody else. Watch this. And it's not just unified with unrighteousness. They don't know how to be unified with somebody who's walking and living the righteousness of Yah. Talk to me, somebody. It's not that they don't know how to unify. No, you've proven that in your memory. Go back in your memory. You know how to be unified with people who are doing filthiness, who are being nasty and disgusting. But you can't be unified with a brother or sister who's walking in righteousness, and you got the nerve to try to make them feel like they have the problem? The harvest is great, but the laborers are few. I should say this, the qualified laborers. You're not even qualified to walk in my steps. Whoo! Don't you feel bad about your family members or your friends who make fun of you, who tell you and make you feel like you messing up the barbecue? Come on and go with. I'd rather go to a feast day anytime. Come on and go with me here. Listen, I'd rather go to a feast day than sit up at somebody's stinking, nasty, weed-infested barbecue. How come your man didn't come to the barbecue? Because he's holy? Because he's righteous? You think you better than us? Yep, sure is. Do you have the resolve to say that? Or are you like, well, we just do our best. We just trying there every day. There ain't no difference between you and me. We just here, just all living the same. We just trying. Dang that. Yes, we're better. Dang it. Shoot. You got me twisted. Woo. Oh, yes. We better. Why? Because God says we're better. I'm married to God. I'm in covenant with him. He already told us. Watch this. Do I need to go back to Exodus 19 and give us a refresher of what he said about you? See, this is why you can't answer them heathens like that. Look what he says here. Exodus 19 and 5. You didn't forgot who you are, who he made you to be. And Moses, watch this. Let's go to verse 3. And Moses went up unto God, and the Lord called him out of the mountain, saying, thus shalt thou say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel, you have seen what I did unto your enemies, to those that had you in bondage, the Egyptians, and how I bare you on eagle's wings and brought you unto myself. Yes, I'm better. Now, therefore, if you obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, then you shall be a peculiar treasure. Yes, I'm better. Above, watch this, all people. Yes, I'm better. Oh, you think you better than us? Yes, I do. Because I said I do. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Yes, I'm better because I said I will do all that you said do, Yah. Yes, I'm better because I'm disciplining myself to do all that my God has said to do. Yes, I'm better because I serve the God of light instead of the God of darkness. Oh, we got to make a change. We got to make a moral judgment today. Don't you let nobody bully you into being quiet about their question about being whether you're better than them or not. Yes, you're better. Dang it. Oh, I'm not cowering down. Not on this one. Yes, we're better. I don't care who knows it. And so for Shavuot. And so for Shavuot, y'all, if you're going to have fellowship with me, and I'm closing when I say this, I'm closing on Father's Day with this. If you're going to have fellowship with me, let's go to Acts chapter 2. You're going to have to do this, y'all. And they continuing daily with one accord. Miss me with all that hit and miss. 1 week you on, 1 day you on, the next day you off, the next week you off. No. Daily in unity in the temple, breaking of bread from house to house, did eat their meat with gladness and singleness of heart, praising God and having favor with all the people of Yah. And the Lord added to the church daily such as should be saved. If you're going to have faith fellowship with me, I don't care nothing about your barbecue. I don't care nothing about your party you throwing. Nothing compares to the fellowship of the believers who have gladness and singleness of heart in the work and the ministry of Yeshua HaMashiach. I'm done. That's it. No more needs to be said. That's it, y'all. Blessings. Shalom to you and your family too, y'all. I'm on one. Woo! I'm on one. I am on one today. Yes. That's where it is today, y'all. Blessings. Shalom. Any questions? Any questions? Any comments? Throw them in the chat. I want to talk to you. Let's talk. Let's have a conversation. Have I said anything today that you disagree with? Have I said anything today that is unbiblical? If I said anything today that rubs you the wrong way, let's talk about it. Let's see if we can have fellowship in righteousness and holiness around the truth. What say you? Can we talk? All right. Blessings. Okay, when you say the clip, hold on, let me see. sermon? Okay. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Hold on. Let me, oh, absolutely. I will do that. Oh, yes, I will send that right away. Blessings. Any other questions? Blessings, blessings, Brother Kev. Blessings. The document. Okay, yes, I will send all of those. I will send all of those links to everyone. Blessings. All right, y'all. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy the men in your families. Enjoy the men, even if they're not fathers. Enjoy the men in your families. Talk to them about manhood. Talk to them about fatherhood. Talk to them about husbandhood. Enjoy. Have a wonderful day today. All right. Shalom and blessings to you and your family too. Blessings.